Hey, good day to you. This is Todd. I am a regular dude walking in the Word. Hey, I want to thank you as we are going through Colossians right now. We're still in chapter 1, and we're going to do these last 3 episodes on concluding chapter 1. When Paul was writing the gospel, he was writing to this letter to the Colossians. Paul hadn't been there to the Colossians, and when Paul was writing this letter, to combat the false teaching that was happening, okay? And the false teachers were right there in Colossae, okay? And they had an easy time of slamming Paul, like, he's in prison, he's just causing trouble, and so forth. You need to listen to us. In this section here, Paul gives his defense as to what he's doing, okay? What's the ministry of Paul? And Paul says, this is my ministry. There's 3 things he lays out in this next section of what his ministry is. And we're going to go over each of those 3 things in one thing per day for the next 3 days here. Along with that, the reason I'm sharing this stuff with you is because this isn't just for Paul and he's like, oh, that's nice, that's his ministry. No, this should be our ministry too. Okay, we should be doing this same stuff. We're called to do this too. It didn't say, oh, this is only for Paul, and but you don't have to do these things. No, God has asked us to do this same stuff. Okay, so let's read here today. This is taken from Colossians chapter 1, verses 21 to 23. It's exactly the same verses that I read yesterday. It says, once you were alienated from God, and you were enemies in your minds because of your evil behavior. But now he has reconciled you by Christ's physical body through the death to present you holy in his sight, without blemish and free from accusation. If you continue in your faith, established firm, and do not move from the hope held out in the gospel, this is the gospel that you've heard and that has been proclaimed to every creature under heaven, and of which I, Paul, have become a servant. That last phrase there is what we're talking about today. I just read, the whole gospel presentation there. But the last phrase there, it says, this is the gospel that you've heard. You heard the gospel. I just presented it yesterday, okay? And that has been proclaimed to every creature under heaven, and of which Paul, have become a servant, okay? So Paul is a servant, that he's a servant of sharing the gospel, okay? So that's what he's doing. He's out there sharing the gospel. And again, the gospel, we talked about it yesterday. If you missed yesterday's episode, go back and listen to it because it talks about the gospel. We talked about the gospel, laid out, and I laid it out on my insulation board here of what the gospel is. We have God here, and we're over here, and we're separated. We deserve to go to hell, but Jesus took our place and provided a way, access for us to God. Okay, so the whole thing is Paul was preaching that to everyone. And in the same way, that's what we need to be doing. We need to be sharing that gospel with everyone. And you don't have to be like a pastor. You don't have to be this great theologian. All you have to do is share like what I shared yesterday, those phrases there. And you can use that simple diagram if you want to. You can use whatever way. The best way is with your testimony and tell what God has done in your life. But that's what God has called us to do, is to share the gospel with others. And that's what Paul was saying. Hey, my ministry is sharing the gospel. All right. Hey, thanks for watching. I'm just a regular dude walking in the Word, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow as we continue looking at the ministry of Paul here in Colossians. Lord's blessing. I will see you tomorrow.